In the last lecture, you learned how to use campaign tagging to really improve the tracking of your marketing campaigns all the way down to individual links and posts, how those are performing. That really wrapped up on the acquisition part of our Google Analytics audit. So inside Google Analytics, what we're finished up on now is this acquisition section. And what we're moving on to now is the behavior section. So already in this Google Analytics audit, you've understood who exactly your visitors are, their age, their gender, what devices they're using. Then you understood how those visitors actually get to your website. What are the marketing channels that they're coming in on? Which of those marketing channels are performing? Which ones are you going to grow? Which ones are you going to focus less on? Now in this part of your Google Analytics account, you can really understand what your visitors do once they arrive on your site. And in the behavior section of your Google Analytics account, there are three main reports that you really want to understand. And each of these reports talk about a different section, different stage in the process essentially. First, you're going to learn how to analyze the landing pages report. This is how visitors land into your page. Very important to make a good first impression so they stick around longer. Next, you're going to analyze the all pages report, really understanding once they've arrived into your site, where are they spending most of their time? And then finally, how to analyze the exit pages report. Are there pages where you're losing visitors? Are there pages where a lot of your visitors are leaving from that you should include a strong call to action or a good incentive to sign up to your mailing list or complete your goal, whatever it would be? Essentially, what we want to do is understand where your visitors are spending time on your site. What are the pages on your website that are performing well? What makes them perform this well? How can you optimize and improve that? And how can you use that information to improve poor performing pages? Because poor performing pages are really hindering you from growing, and you want to identify those, fix those pages, or really get rid of them. Essentially, you want every single page on your website to be adding value and to be bringing you towards your goal, whatever that may be. So that is what you really want to identify from the next few lectures. So let's start off by really analyzing the landing pages report inside of Google Analytics. This is very easy to find. We're once again in our behavior section. We're coming down to site content, coming into landing pages. And this is a good report to start on because the landing page is like it sounds. This is where somebody lands in to your website. Now you'll remember that this is also part of the custom dashboard we'll set up. So I'll just show you quickly once again where that is. Under dashboards, we come into the custom dashboard we set up at the start of the course, and you can see the top landing pages. So this report here is an overview of what we're going to dig into a lot deeper now. But you can really get a high level view of it here back in your custom dashboard anytime you want. And now that you've set up that weekly PDF being sent out, you can really keep track of this. But if you notice anything in here, what you'll want to do is come in to behavior, landing pages, and dig into this a little bit deeper. Now, landing pages, as I said, are the pages of your website where people really arrive into your website. What you'll see here is a list of the landing pages, the top 10 ones on your site in terms of number of sessions. So most people on my website here, I can see 37% of the people over the last month. So once again, checking that date range, that's the same as we've been analyzing all along. They have come into my SEO checklist page. So that's a big driver of people coming into my site. Next up, Facebook marketing, WordPress for beginners, YouTube marketing. This little dash here is just your home page. So a lot of people coming in on the home page still, but it's these content pages that are really attracting a lot of visitors in. Now, I can see the amount of time that they spend on these pages, and I can see the home page, for example, people spending a lot more time there than the content pages. And I can also see how much each of these pages each of these landing pages has really contributed to my goal. You'll remember that when we talked about landing pages as well, we referred to it in our AdWords section of the course. And these landing pages are really essential. If you want to send people to your website, send them to your landing pages, and you can really measure performance here as well. So sessions are a good way to look at how they're performing. Time on the site is a good way to look at how those landing pages are performing, and email signups as well, or whatever your goal may be. But one of the best metrics to assess the performance of your landing pages is bounce rate. I'm going to explain what bounce rate is, but let's come up here to the top of the report. You can click on this toggle. You can change this drop down to show the view to be bounce rate. So what we see now are how these pages are performing in terms of the bounce rate. Now let's explain what the bounce rate is. The bounce rate is really a measure of how many people come to your website on this page and don't proceed to another page on your website. The bounce rate is different to other metrics because the higher it is, the worse it is. So I can see here the average for my site, the bounce rate is 70%. So what that means is that on average, 70% of the people who come to my website view one page and then they do not proceed to visit more content. So having a high bounce rate is not a good thing, because that means 70% of the people are coming to one page and then they're not moving on to other pages. Now, if you want to have a successful site, a successful business, you want to be keeping people engaged, getting them to spend a lot of time on the site. And so reducing the bounce rate is always going to be your goal. Now, that is different to pretty much every other metric on Google Analytics. If we look at the number of sessions, the higher the number of sessions, the better. If we look at, let's see, average time, duration, you can change all of these up as you want. But if the conversion rate is 70%, I'd be absolutely delighted. If the bounce rate 70%, I'd be disappointed. So that's why you can see that this is a plus figure, plus 2.59%, but you can see that this is a red bar. And that seems counterintuitive. If it's above the average, surely that's a good thing. But remember, bounce rate is really the higher the worse. That's why even these positive numbers are showing up as a red bar here. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Just remember that the higher the bounce rate, it's a negative thing. So what I can see here is my average bounce rate is 70%. And then I can see that down here, I have marketing/marketing tools. The bounce rate is 23% above the average. So that's a very high bounce rate. And what I really want to do here is look at these pages that are above the site average, and I really want to fix or rework these. So what I can do is even click on this here, and I can open up the page straight away. So this is the exact page that's been referred to in the report. Now, I haven't put a lot of work into this page just yet. I'm really waiting to finish recording the course and update all the tools here. So I'm not surprised this page isn't performing that well. Now, it's a list of tools, but it's pretty short. There is no call to action on the page. And really what I think I'm going to do now is add in the ability for people to download this list by PDF. I think that'll help conversions and also improve the design of it. So it's interesting to see that reflected in the analytics, that marketing tools is not performing as a page. This is one that I intended to rework, but it's given me that extra incentive to really confirm that yes, it's not performing that well. So I'm going to update that one. I can also see which of these pages are performing particularly well. So for example, marketing, Facebook marketing, I can see that the bounce rate on this is 13% less than the site average. So what I can do is come in here and really try to understand, I'm going to open up this page to show you, really try to understand why this page is performing better. And maybe I can come in and look at the title, look at the first couple of sentences that I wrote, the structure of the page. How is this maybe different to some of these other pages that are not performing as well. Also, I can see that the thank you page is lower than average. I'm surprised to see that as a landing page there. It's a little bit unusual because normally people couldn't get to that page without being on first page, if you know what I mean. Sometimes not everything makes sense in Google Analytics, but you can really just look at the main figures here. Now, if you want to find out, for example, okay, so I can see the bounce rate is high. Where is the traffic really coming from? You can click into the individual page. You can add in the source here. And so I can start to see where some of this traffic is coming from. I can just organize this in number of sessions. So a lot of people seem to be coming to this page directly. And that kind of explains why this is a landing page. So I don't know where they're getting that email address from or that web address from, but I think this is a key page that I want to work on anyway. So the bottom line is that no website can really be successful without good performing landing pages. This is where people come into your website. If they don't have a good first impression and stick around, it's going to be much harder for you to grow your business. Now, for a young site like mine, it mightn't be unusual to see a lot of first-time visitors come in and people with relatively high bounce rate. But over time, I will want to keep an eye on these, improve those poor performing pages. And really, I can see now that this page especially is performing very well in terms of sessions and signups. So if I'm going to focus on promoting one page, building up links, really promoting this page out, this is the one for me to do because it's still bringing a lot of people into the site. All right, so coming back to the insights here and the questions to ask yourself when looking at your landing pages, really, which landing pages have a higher bounce rate compared to site average? Get rid of these or rework these by looking at the good performing landing pages. So for me, one clear action is to tackle the marketing tools page, maybe add call to action and a PDF download to increase conversions. So a very simple action there, but a good insight. All right, so that is the landing pages report. I'm going to mark this off the list now. Let's see where I am. 33% done there, 76% done in total. And in the next lecture, we're going to look at the all pages report. This is different to the landing pages report, and we can take even more actionable insights out of this.